Hey guys, Weiss here. Welcome to another video. Heritage Auctions has sold a copy of Nintendo Power #1, the iconic publication, for $108,000. The famous Mario claymation cover issue, $108,000. Just amazing. Now you might be thinking a Nintendo Power #1 maybe should go for 20 or 30 bucks, 100 bucks at the most in nice condition. But this was a very special issue. Now, it's not a rare magazine, but it is extremely rare to find one that looks brand new right off the racks. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, a little bit about the history of Nintendo Power, at least its cultural impact. And then I'm going to show you guys my own personal copy of Nintendo Power #1. Is it a 9.8? Is it trashed? We'll take a look at that. And I'm also going to show you guys a peek inside Heritage Auctions magazine. Heritage Auctions sold this historic copy of Nintendo Power magazine #1, and it was advertised on the cover, and there's an entry for it inside that I will show you guys here in a little bit. Why do I have this copy of the latest Heritage Auctions catalog for video games? Because I am a cataloger for Heritage Auctions. It's a super fun job. I get to see all kinds of incredibly cool stuff every day, all kinds of rarities. It's amazing. You guys might have seen some of my social media posts with some super rare items. Pretty fun job, pretty cool job. Just, you know, like a friend of mine said who works at Heritage, he sees cool S all day and writes about it.
Watch your profanity.
Pretty awesome. So anyway, Nintendo Power had a huge impact on gaming culture. The tips, the tricks, the walkthroughs, the colorful illustrations, the introducing readers to games they may not have seen or played before, or games that they didn't own or their friends didn't own, or it just gave you a better look at these games, you know, way before YouTube and online walkthroughs and things like that. Pretty awesome. Not only that, it helped popularize and resurrect the video game magazine market in North America after it had died along with the video game industry, at least the North American console industry in North America. In 1983, the crash, games were drastically discounted. Atari barely held on, and television was bought by INTV, barely hung on. ColecoVision was canceled. Atari 5200 was canceled, and you know, the Odyssey 2, these systems went away. The market crashed. It went from like 3 billion plus to, you know, just like a tiny fraction of that by 1984 and 85. It just, you know, until the NES resurrected it in North America. Not only did the gaming market crash, of course, along with it, video game magazines. Now, Electronic Games Magazine, the first video game magazine devoted exclusively to video games, it soldiered on until around 84 or 85, and towards the latter end there, they started covering computers more since the console industry had crashed, but it went away too. So there were a couple of years there where video game reviews were just about impossible to find. There was a newsletter called Computer Entertainer /Video Update, but it was just a small press publication. And that's the only place you can find a contemporary review in the English language of Super Mario Brothers. And you were hard pressed to find reviews of those early NES games like Super Mario Brothers, Metroid, The Legend of Zelda, Kung Fu. Imagine these big titles, a lot of them AAA, coming out for a new console, and there being virtually no reviews to read for them. Can you imagine if the next Zelda game for the Switch came out and you could not find a review of it virtually anywhere? How bizarre, what a different time it was back in the 80s for gaming. But Nintendo Power, released in 1988, really helped popularize and bring back video game magazines in full force. And then, you know, Game Pro and Electronic Gaming Monthly and all this stuff. The video game magazine industry resurrected along with video games in general, and it was a whole thing, and it was completely awesome. So let's get to take a look at my Nintendo Power Magazine #1. And maybe I'll just go ahead and, I don't have a ton of issues of Nintendo Power, so I'll show you guys those as well. I just would grab one randomly back in the day, or I might see one for $1 at a garage sale or something. And we'll take a look inside the Heritage Auctions catalog at the Nintendo Power entry for that as well. So let's take a look. Here we go, my copy of Nintendo Power Magazine #1. You can still get copies like this for pretty cheaply, you know, relatively speaking. It's pretty well worn, you know, just normal reading wear. It's not torn up or anything. And it looks pretty good inside. Such a colorful magazine. So nicely laid out. Check that out, love it. Comic strips, previews, players poll, fun stuff. Great magazine, walkthrough. I mean, just, yeah, before YouTube walkthroughs, boom, there you go. If you wanted to be a hardcore Nintendo player, Nintendo Power, a lot of people considered it a must. It's a fun and useful magazine. Previews and sort of pseudo reviews. I don't know if they were too objective, being an actual Nintendo publication, although some games did get fairly negative reviews at times. Now let's take a look at the rest of my Nintendo Power magazines and the Heritage Auctions catalog. A quick look at that. Here we go, super random, just an assortment of issues over the years. I'm sure I bought that one because I love superheroes. And I would just pick these up here and there when I would find them. I never really was a subscriber to the magazine. Just grab a copy here and there. I mostly played games without strategy guides, without cheats, without spoilers. I would just play the games as is and try to figure them out on my own for the most part. I like this cover with the Mario paint because it evokes the first issue of Nintendo Power with the claymation Mario. Pretty cool. And the rest of my issues, including one with no cover, the Nestor's comic book, Star Fox, such greatness. Yeah, variety of eras for Nintendo Power Magazine. It did last for quite some time. Felix the Cat, one of my favorite games for the NES, at least one of my favorite platformers. Early issue here, pretty cool. Very creative cover for Track and Field 2. More modern-ish Nintendo Powers. All right, let's get to look at that Heritage catalog now. Here we go, a quick look at the Heritage Auctions catalog. Their latest for their signature sale that advertised the now famous copy of Nintendo Power Magazine #1. The only CGC 9.8 graded copy, and here's the entry inside the catalog. It's a full page. And this is actually the second highest valuable magazine of any genre that Heritage has ever sold. The first being a 9.2, I believe it was, copy of Playboy magazine #1, the famous Marilyn Monroe issue. It sold for $120,000 last year. Now, if you just want Nintendo Power to read, I still see them at conventions all the time for, you know, just reader's grade copies. You can definitely get those and just have fun with them. But this is something altogether entirely different for high-end collectors, for investors, and that kind of thing. So there you go. Let me know in the comments here, what are your memories of Nintendo Power Magazine? Do you have issue #1? Did you read the magazine growing up? Are you still a fan? And let me know what you think. $108,000. That's pretty remarkable. Nintendo Power has definitely reached the point where it's like Sports Illustrated or Time Magazine or Reader's Digest. Even though it's no longer being produced, it's still an iconic publication that will go down in history as one of the most famous magazines, especially entertainment related. Definitely the most iconic video game magazine of all time. But anyway, comment, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys in another video.
me, Mario!